In a booth at Crimson Lights, Nick hands Sharon a big brownie and a lavender latte as he settles in across from her. She just got off the phone with Mariah and also spoke to Noah. As soon as she got home, she hugged Faith so hard that she made her squeak. The whole time she was captive, she thought of her kids. Nick admires her for doing that and asks if she wants to go home to rest. This is where Sharon wants to be, surrounded by people living their lives and free. Now I am too, all because of you, she says, taking his hand. She tells him she'll never take making the simplest choices for granted again. Part of taking back control of her life will be finding out who was behind all this. Sharon admits that at one point, she and Phyllis speculated on whether the kidnapper could be someone they knew, even one of their own kids. Whoever was responsible knew so much of their history. Their minds were desperate enough to wonder if one of their kids was trying to teach them a lesson. Nick is confident none of their kids would do such a thing. This all sounds like some form of extreme therapy to him. It was more like an attempted exorcism, she says. He asks if it succeeded. Sharon wants to believe that the ordeal was ironically cathartic. They were forced to come to terms with some of their issues and to save each other's lives. It's insane to Nick that this was all done for someone's entertainment. Sharon explains the voice seemed to be running some kind of psychological experiment. The person behind this must have had some experience in psychology. They knew what games would push the right buttons. She can't help but think of how similar it was to aversion therapy. It was like some twisted therapeutic intervention. Nick is just relieved they are okay. Now they need to figure out who was behind it so it will never happen again. Phyllis walks down the steps of the athletic club and into the foyer. She looks around anxiously until her children burst through the revolving doors. Once they have enjoyed a group hug, the kids say they've been worried sick. Phyllis is okay now that she's seen her babies. They settle into the dining room. A burger and fries is set before her as well as a large glass of red wine. The children beam while they watch her gorge. Phyllis likes that she could choose between fries and a salad, but it wasn't much of a choice. She giggles about how happy she is that it's not poisoned. Her kids want to hear everything. Phyllis explains how she was trapped in a clinic with Sharon. She's not sure what the point was. It seemed to be some weird experiment to make her and Sharon work together. Summer points out that the person who did this hasn't been caught. That means she's still in danger. Her mom tells them she doesn't want them to worry more than they already have. She has Chance looking out for her, and she's determined to hunt down whoever did this. Daniel orders her not to go vigilante. He forces his mom to promise she will let this police take care of this. Phyllis explains that her captor knew all about her history with Sharon and gave them tests and riddles. She ended up being poisoned and her life reduced to a punchline for a riddle. The irony of it is that if it weren't for Sharon, she wouldn't be with her babies right now. She shares that she woke up and Sharon didn't have a heartbeat, so she had to get her alive and kicking again. Daniel asks if they worked through any of their mutual anger. With some difficulty, Phyllis admits they've developed a new appreciation for each other's strengths. Summer doesn't want to mention it, but asks if this could have been Ian's doing. It crossed her mom's mind, but Chance assured her he was cremated. This freak has to be found, sooner rather than later, Phyllis says. At Billy's place, Sally tells him that being fed clues to find Sharon and Phyllis makes this whole debacle sound like the strangest kidnapping ever. She can't believe he just dove in on tracking them down. There was no way Billy wouldn't have done that. He couldn't turn away from the slightest chance of saving Phyllis. He starts beating himself up for thinking that Phyllis bailed on him instead of realizing something was wrong. Spectra assures him this is not his fault and her captor must have told her to give her family a bogus story. As he has a drink, she tells him how glad she is that he's okay. Billy frets that if they'd been 5 minutes later, Phyllis and Sharon would have been poisoned by gas. This all sounds insane to Sally. At least there was a happy ending. Billy worries that whoever did this is still roaming the streets. They can only hope the cops find them before something even worse can be done to someone else. As Sally gives him a massage, Billy wishes he could slam whoever did this to Sharon and Phyllis. But he's more than happy to hang up his hero cape and put on his business jacket. Once he knows Phyllis is okay, he wants to concentrate on sending their company into the stratosphere. Caressing his neck, Sally says he's still a hero even if he's not wearing a cape. They kiss. More, why Phyllis and Sharon were taken captive. Billy makes a confession to Phyllis. Phyllis shows up at Billy's place and interrupts him and Sally. She tells them she's fine and everything is nice. She just wanted to have a conversation with Billy. Sally declares she needs to get back to the office and quickly exits. Shuddering, Phyllis admits to Billy that she's not fine. She needs her life back and he's the only one who can help her. As she apologizes, he tells her there's no need, but she insists because she blew up their timeline. Billy reminds her that she was kidnapped. He tells her to take some time and recover. Choking up, Phyllis explains that what helped her when she was in captivity wasn't only thinking of her kids, but thinking of what Abbott Communications could accomplish. Leaping up, she goes on about how they can change things for the better and build something great. It's important to her and she needs it now. Today, not tomorrow, not one day when I feel better. Please, please, she begs. This is the only way she will get past what was taken from her. Billy is worried she will take on more than she can handle right now, but she insists she needs the excitement and energy. When Phyllis brings up the press release, Billy awkwardly confesses that he was an idiot and put it out without her name attached to it when he thought she went AWOL on him. He's sorry for that. It was a mistake and he realized that very quickly. Billy knows she would never bail on him, and he soon realized she was in trouble. "Do you want me to work with you?" she asks, "or is this a mercy thing?" He says he needs her fire. There's no one on the planet he'd rather do this with. When he asks for her forgiveness, she says of course she forgives him, he saved her life. Phyllis runs into Billy's arms and he squeezes her as she looks emotional. Chance searches the clinic. Chance and his crew search the basement of the medical clinic. He gives them instructions on what to look for but assumes that the culprit left no traces. The place has been trashed, but there could still be some fingerprints that don't belong to the two victims. If they can do that, they'll be one step closer to finding out who did this. As he searches, he pulls the covers off the gas tap and discovers that the device that triggered it to leak is still there. The detective calls for a bag and takes the device. Later, Chance walks into Crimson Lights and finds Nick and Sharon together. The cop explains that they bagged some items at the clinic and are waiting to see if they get a hit on the fingerprints. They were able to chase the purchase of a remote-controlled apparatus attached to the gas line. It was bought at a hardware store not far from the clinic. Chance says they will go through the store's surveillance footage to look for a suspect. Sharon says no one hated her as much as Phyllis, and now that isn't even true. The cop suspects the abductor could be someone they know. Nick is sure there is a whole list of people who are enemies of Phyllis. Sharon is sure that if anyone can catch the monster who did all this, it's Chance. The cop urges her to get some rest. Nick backs this up, reminding her of her plans to go to Sedona. On second thought, Nick suggests she take Faith to Europe to see Noah. She agrees that now would be a good time to go, but only if Nick goes with them. Alan lies to Tracy about the messages on his phone. In her suite at the athletic club, Tracy picks up Alan's buzzing phone and sees a text that reads, "Security breach at clinic. Precautions enacted." As she puzzles over that, Alan enters, excited to take her out until he notices she's holding his phone. She explains his phone was making strange noises and she grabbed it, seeing the odd text. Taking the phone from her hand, Alan turns away for a minute and then claims he's been seeing alerts for a few days. Fearing he's been hacked, he hasn't opened his phone. That's why he was so stunned when he saw her with his phone. That makes sense to Tracy, who suggests he get a new phone. She suddenly remembers that he must have opened his phone to text her earlier. As they sit, he chuckles and says he must have been so excited to see her that he forgot about the risk. They talk about how his identity might have been stolen. He ponders what that would feel like and how useful it would be as a therapist to go through the kind of psychological devastation that must involve. It would be an interesting experiment to experience those feelings. She reminds him that he already did when his brother Martin was pretending to be him. More, Eddie is leaving 9-1-1. Alan changes the topic back to their wedding, and she throws out a few options, including the Abbott Manse once it has had its refresh. Tracy also considered Paris, since they have so many memories of getting to know each other there. She wants their wedding to be perfect. He's happy to marry her anywhere. As they kiss, his phone starts pinging with more alerts. She wonders what kind of hack this could be. Alan snaps about her asking about the phone and shuts it off. Apologizing, he explains he's just stressed out. He thinks they need to concentrate on being in love, and the idea of getting married in Paris is growing on him. He suggests they jump on a jet and check out some venues. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease Claire Newman has 5 cold words she might use to Summer Newman when Claire takes charge of the situation. Summer's been crossing over into some fighting words territory, and as far as Claire is concerned, this means war, and she needs to stay in her own lane. Summer's been crossing lines where Kyle is concerned, but he's been lenient. Fans of Y and R are well aware that Summer has been pushing boundaries lately with her snide remarks aimed at Claire and her efforts to rekindle her relationship with Kyle Abbott. While Kyle has shown understanding towards Summer and her family issues in recent months, it doesn't excuse her behavior towards Claire, treating her as if she's insignificant. Ideally, Kyle would be more assertive in establishing boundaries and addressing Summer's actions when needed, but he's taking her mother's disappearances into consideration. It's understandable that Kyle is treading carefully, given the turmoil Summer has been facing, particularly with Phyllis Summer's mysterious disappearance. After all, it hasn't been all that long ago that they were dealing with Phyllis faking her own death under duress, and she nearly died in that car accident Jordan caused. Claire may get turbo annoyed with Summer now that Phyllis is safe, yet Claire is likely to grow increasingly frustrated with Summer now that Phyllis has been rescued. Summer might continue to exploit Kyle's compassion, incessantly complaining about the lingering threat posed by Phyllis' abductor. Claire probably envisioned that finding Phyllis would lead Summer to loosen her grip on Kyle, but instead, she may remain firmly attached to him, which is bound to irritate Claire. Throughout the week of March 17-21, Claire will observe Summer getting close to Kyle, setting the stage for some intense confrontations among the three of them. If this dynamic persists, it may just push Claire to her breaking point, and she won't help but to take some serious action. 5 cold words that are a brutal reality check. This leads us to the chilling words Claire might unleash on Summer. Kyle doesn't want you anymore. Pushed to her limits, Claire could bluntly inform Summer that Kyle has moved on. It's possible that in a moment of frustration, Claire will urge Summer to face the reality that Kyle is truly done with her. While Claire generally has a compassionate nature, there might still be a hint of her inner Jordan lurking beneath the surface. Claire's darker instincts could emerge as she aims to decisively put an end to Summer's hopes. Even though Summer anticipates a catastrophic outcome for Claire and Kyle, Claire is likely to challenge that notion, striving to demonstrate that they are destined to be together. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Y and R right now. Come back here often for the Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. In the upcoming episode of The Young and the Restless on Monday, March 17th, tensions run high and emotions spill over as Billy Abbott seeks forgiveness from Phyllis Summers. After the dramatic rescue that saved Phyllis from captivity, Billy opens up to Sally Spectra about the terrifying ordeal. Although Sally worries that Billy may have walked into a dangerous trap, he reassures her that he had to step in to help Phyllis. Now, Billy is ready to let the police handle the investigation and focus on making things right with Phyllis. John Boyega reveals Tom Cruise was the one who got him cast in Star Wars. John Boyega reveals that Tom Cruise was the one who got him cast as Finn in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. He may never have appeared in Star Wars, but it seems Cruise has had a surprising impact. That's in spite of the fact he hasn't even worked with Boyega himself, but he loved Boyega's debut in Attack the Block. Speaking at a spotlight panel at Emerald City Comic-Con via Popverse, John Boyega revealed that Cruise was the one who initially put him on J.J. Abrams' radar for The Force Awakens. "I'm thankful to Tom Cruise, who loved Attack the Block," Boyega explained. He was editing Mission Impossible at the time with J.J. Abrams. Tom told JJ, "You've got to watch this kid in Attack the Block." JJ watched it, and one thing led to another, and 4 or 5 years later, I was in the movie. In some ways, Boyega noted, he owes his career to Cruise. John Boyega's career was launched by the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Boyega may be a fantastic actor, but it's undeniably true that Star Wars put him on the map. He won the BAFTA Rising Star Award and received the Trophy Choppered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2016, a year after Star Wars: The Force Awakens release, and became a dearly loved member of the Star Wars sequel trilogy cast. That said, the experience wasn't entirely pleasant for the actor. Boyega criticized Disney's handling of Finn, who didn't exactly have a strong and consistent arc throughout the sequels. Still, Boyega has since gone from strength to strength. He's appeared in everything from Pacific Rim, Uprising to The Woman King, consistently demonstrating just how talented he really is. Star Wars may have been Boyega's launchpad, but his own talent propels his career. Our take on John Boyega and Star Wars. There's a sense in which John Boyega's Finn feels like one of the worst missed opportunities in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Who can forget those first posters, which seemed to hint at a stormtrooper who becomes a Jedi? Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker seemed to finally pay off this with an oddly handled plot, in which Finn learned he was Force-sensitive, but this too was badly developed. There's been intense speculation Finn could return as a Jedi Master in Rey's new Jedi Order movie, appearing alongside his fellow sequel trilogy star Daisy Ridley. Boyega himself sounds a lot more positive about Star Wars than he used to be, so this can't be ruled out. It feels a lot more possible 10 years after Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Ridley herself has hinted she's in favor, so hopefully it will indeed come to pass. A surprising twist reveals that Alan is not who he appears to be. While Alan has charmed Tracy Abbott into accepting his marriage proposal, he secretly monitors Sharon and Phyllis from afar. As suspicions grow, many begin to wonder if Alan has a darker side, or perhaps an evil twin named Martin. Jack Abbott starts to question Alan's motives, finding it odd that a respected psychiatrist would abandon his career to focus solely on Tracy. His instincts may be right, as evidence suggests that Martin is behind the kidnapping. Obsessed with psychology and envious of his brother, Martin's twisted experiments aim to manipulate and control his captives. Race against time: will Nick and Billy save them? By the end of the week, Nick and Billy receive another promising lead from Chance. As the tension escalates, they rush to Haven House in hopes of rescuing Sharon and Phyllis. The big question remains: will they arrive in time, or will Martin's sinister plan succeed? With leaves hanging in the balance, this thrilling rescue mission is set to reach a dramatic climax. Claire's frustration and Summer's schemes. Elsewhere, Claire grows increasingly frustrated with Summer Newman. Although she doesn't blame Kyle Abbott directly, Claire starts to suspect that Summer is intentionally interfering in their relationship. Tired of Summer's manipulative behavior, Claire may finally confront her rival head-on, leading to an explosive showdown. Romantic tension and unexpected reunions. The unfolding crisis could also spark major romantic shifts. As Nick and Billy play hero, it might reignite old flames. Nick and Sharon's bond grows stronger, hinting at a potential reconciliation, while Billy may begin to reconsider his feelings for Phyllis despite his current relationship with Sally Spectra. Meanwhile, Tracy excitedly begins planning her wedding, unaware that she's engaged to a potential monster. Adding to the drama, Christine "Cricket" Blair returns to Genoa City. Her reappearance could serve as a true test of Phyllis's personal growth. Will Phyllis be able to hold her tongue, or will their old rivalry reignite? Victor's meddling and future threats. Victor Newman continues to meddle in his children's lives, particularly questioning Adam Newman's recent decisions. Additionally, he might even encourage Summer to intensify her sabotage of Kyle and Claire's relationship. With Victor pulling the strings, tensions are sure to escalate further. As the week of March 17-21 unfolds, The Young and the Restless delivers heart-stopping action, jaw-dropping revelations, and emotional confrontations. With Phyllis and Sharon fighting for their lives and Nick and Billy racing against time, fans can expect edge-of-your-seat drama that promises to reshape relationships and expose hidden truths in Genoa City. Just when fans thought the drama in The Young and the Restless couldn't get any crazier, a jaw-dropping twist changes everything. Alan and Martin, both presumed dead, are actually alive, but their return is just the beginning of the chaos. With Ashley making a shocking comeback, Genoa City is about to explode with secrets, betrayals, and revenge. Who will survive the fallout? Alan and Martin's stunning survival. How did they cheat death? For weeks, everyone in Genoa City believed Alan and Martin were gone for good. Their supposed deaths left families grieving, enemies celebrating, and a trail of unanswered questions. But now, the truth is out. They're both alive. Were they in hiding? Did someone fake their deaths? And most importantly, why are they back now? Ashley's return spells disaster. As if Alan and Martin's return wasn't shocking enough, Ashley is about to make a grand entrance that will shatter everything. She has unfinished business, and she's not coming back to play nice. Could Ashley be the reason Alan and Martin disappeared in the first place? Or is she about to expose secrets that will leave everyone scrambling? Secrets, betrayals, and explosive confrontations. With Alan, Martin, and Ashley all in Genoa City at the same time, tensions will erupt like never before. Long-buried secrets are about to be revealed, and the consequences will be devastating. Who's been lying? Who's been covering up the truth? And will this shocking twist tear families apart forever? What happens next? With Ashley back and Alan and Martin alive, the battle for power, truth, and revenge is only just beginning. Genoa City will never be the same again, and the fallout from this revelation will change everything. Will Ashley's return destroy Alan and Martin, or will they team up to take down their enemies? One thing's for sure, The Young and the Restless is about to deliver one of its most explosive storylines yet. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease a sinister switcheroo may have happened since Martin and Alan Laurent wrestled and fell off that balcony, killing one. But instead of Martin switching clothes with Alan while midair on the way down, could something else have happened? Did Alan become Martin in a grief-induced psychosis? It started with the problem of two Ashleys, then became two Allens. Viewers will recall when Ashley Abbott suffered a bout of dissociative identity disorder, or did. Alan treated Ashley for a while, but then the problem of two or more Ashleys turned into a problem of two Allens when Martin kidnapped Alan and started impersonating him. Real Alan mentioned that he had a twin, presumably he'd committed Martin, trying to help him, and Martin was jealous, obsessed with psychology and proving he was the better of the two twins. Previously, when talking to Ashley about events that had happened in Paris, while dealing with what she thought was Tucker McCall-induced trauma, she mentioned something to Alan. At the time, Alan didn't recall the conversation and suggested she'd met Martin, who he didn't realize was out in society. Martin wreaked havoc as fake Alan. And he struck at the bar where Ashley thought she'd met with Alan previously, which is where he kidnapped Alan. But that didn't last long, as Alan, locked up in the bathroom at the bar, made his way free and immediately tracked down Martin and Ashley and confronted Martin. Martin had taken Ashley hostage and Alan was determined to free her, and the two argued. Alan urged Martin to get help, but Martin rejected the idea and instead lashed out at Alan, leading both brothers to tumble over the balcony. Alan emerged with a broken arm, while Martin tragically perished upon impact. Alan regretted not being able to help Martin. Though overwhelmed by grief for his brother, Alan also felt a sense of relief that Martin could no longer pose a threat to anyone. It was a heavy burden for Alan to bear, knowing he had to leave Martin's body unattended in the street until it could be taken away. Ashley remained in Paris to receive treatment, and finally she was free of her own trauma that caused her personality to split. Tracy Abbott also stayed in Paris. Fast forwarding to recently, Alan and Tracy just got engaged, and supposedly Alan has moved past the grief over his brother. But it was recently discovered he kidnapped Phyllis Summers and Sharon Newman, subjecting them to a bizarre psychological experiment in an abandoned mental facility. Martin couldn't have switched with Alan Madare. Going back to that fateful night in Paris when Alan and Martin struggled, Martin having been killed, it's been theorized somehow Martin took over and Alan was killed. But he couldn't have changed clothes with his twin Madare on the way down to the ground. And there's no evidence that the clothes switch happened prior to the fall. With Alan's deep grief and regret, he couldn't have least stayed with Martin's body until it was taken away, and regretting he couldn't reach Martin and help him, his own psyche split. It has been Alan all along who's been dating Tracy, and it's been Alan who kidnapped Sharon and Phyllis, but in his fractured mind, he's also become Martin. His mind found a way of denial that has kept his brother alive, in a sense, becoming an alter of Alan's. We'll have other fantastic Young and the Restless spoilers, updates, and news for you, so make us your favorite Y and R hotspot. The Young and the Restless never fails to keep fans on the edge of their seats, and this week is no exception. Sally Spectra is in for an emotional roller coaster as she faces a devastating moment of heartbreak. Billy Abbott and Phyllis Summers share a hug that leaves Sally in utter anguish, sparking rumors of a potential affair between the two. But are these whispers true? Sally's heartbreak, a crushing moment. Sally has been through so much in Genoa City, triumphs, betrayals, and heartache. But nothing hits harder than witnessing Billy and Phyllis in what appears to be a very intimate moment. As the two share a close embrace, Sally is completely shattered. Her emotional breakdown speaks volumes. Is this the end of her relationship with Nick Newman, or is there more to the hug than meets the eye? Billy and Phyllis, a suspicious connection. Fans are left questioning everything as Billy and Phyllis's unexpected hug sparks major tension. Could there be something more to their connection? Or is this just a case of comfort between two people who have been through a lot together? Billy and Phyllis have always shared a complicated history, and their bond has been tested over the years. But with Sally's mounting insecurities and suspicions, this moment could be the tipping point that pushes her to confront them both. Is an affair brewing? The possibility of Billy and Phyllis having an affair is on everyone's mind. Is this innocent or a sign of something more? With Sally already dealing with so much, will this betrayal push her to the brink, or will she find the strength to move on? What's next for Sally, Billy, and Phyllis? The drama is heating up, and with Sally's heartbreak, It's only a matter of time before truths are revealed. Will Billy and Phyllis fess up to what's really going on between them? Or is it all just a misunderstanding that will unravel in the most shocking of ways? In the heart of Genoa City, a deadly confrontation changes everything for the Newman family. Tensions reach a breaking point when Nick Newman faces off against Alan Loron, also known by his real identity, Martin Loron. What starts as a heated argument spirals into a tragic disaster. In a moment of anger, Nick pushes Alan, causing him to fall and suffer a fatal head injury. The shocking death leaves Nick horrified and the entire community wondering, was it an accident or a carefully orchestrated plan? And more importantly, what will happen to Alan's body as secrets threaten to unravel? As the Newman family struggles to cope with the aftermath, Nick is overwhelmed by guilt. What he intended as a simple shove to put Alan in his place turns into a nightmare that could destroy everything. The unexpected death puts Victor Newman and the rest of the family in a dangerous position as authorities begin to investigate. But there's an even darker mystery emerging. Someone might be attempting to cover up the crime by disposing of Alan's body in a chilling and calculated way. Alan Loron, or rather Martin Loron, wasn't just an ordinary man. His mysterious past holds secrets that could expose powerful figures in Genoa City's business world. With Alan's death, those secrets are in danger of being revealed. As Nick and Sharon Newman struggle with the emotional fallout, the investigation threatens to pull them deeper into a web of lies. Meanwhile, other figures from Alan's past, including business rivals and old acquaintances, may hold the key to understanding the true motive behind his death. Amidst the chaos, Nick and Sharon attempt to escape the pressure by planning a trip to Europe. Their goal? To repair their fractured relationship and find peace. However, neither of them realizes that their getaway will collide with a dangerous plot involving Martin Loron's hidden agenda. As Sharon insists on bringing Faith to visit No overseas, Nick hesitates but ultimately agrees to join her. What should have been a chance to reconnect turns into a high-stakes game as Alan's shadow looms over their journey. Unbeknownst to the Newmans, Martin Loron had been weaving a manipulative plan involving Tracy Abbott. Using charm and deception, he persuades Tracy to accompany him to Paris, claiming he wants to plan their future wedding. But his true intention is to escape the growing scrutiny in Genoa City. Tracy, despite her intelligence and strength, is drawn deeper into Martin's world. As the trip progresses, her suspicions grow. Could the man she's fallen for be hiding something deadly? Back in Genoa City, Chance Chancellor senses that the story behind Alan's death is far from over. Reviewing security footage and examining the evidence, Chance begins to suspect that Martin is still alive, or that someone else is pulling the strings. As he pieces together the puzzle, Chance learns of Tracy and Martin's departure and realizes they might be escaping to avoid justice. With time running out, Chance rushes to the airport, but by the time he arrives, their flight to Paris has already taken off. When Nick and Sharon arrive in Europe, they expect a fresh start. Instead, they come face-to-face with Martin and Tracy, setting the stage for a shocking showdown. As the truth about Martin's double life begins to surface, Sharon and Nick must navigate dangerous waters to protect themselves and their loved ones. Meanwhile, Tracy, realizing she has been manipulated, faces an impossible decision. Will she break free from Martin's grip, or will she become further entangled in his criminal plans? The stakes couldn't be higher. The Newman family is on the brink of disaster, and the mysterious circumstances surrounding Alan's death threaten to destroy their lives. Can Chance uncover the truth before it's too late? Will Tracy escape the clutches of a man hiding deadly secrets? And as Nick and Sharon face danger in Europe, will they find a way to save their family? Or will their relationship fracture beyond repair? With secrets unraveling and danger escalating, the young and the restless promises explosive twists that will keep viewers on the edge of their seats. The mystery of Alan's death, The Newman family's turmoil and Martin's escape are only the beginning. What happens next will leave Genoa City forever changed.